Hi guys, I'm Mumbi and today I'm sharing some tips on how to manage your time in the most productive way. What do you and I and every other person in this planet have in common? It's the same 24 hours a day. This is time that we all have that you can choose to waste or use to invest in your dreams. What really makes the difference is what you do with that time and how you choose to spend it. We absolutely own all our time. So my time is entirely within my control. One of the main causes of being stressed out at work, whether you're employed or running your own business, is the lack of time for other important things outside work. Being so career driven or a busy worker can make you lose a touch with time and lose the ability to distinguish between sunrise and sunset, meaning you're too busy even to have a social life and recreational activities. Eventually, this situation leads to stress, anxiety, and even burnout. I did a video on preventing burnout, which you can watch via the link above. It is important to know that you have control over your time and that you can maximize to achieve your daily tasks and still leave behind precious time for yourself and your family or other things that are important to you. The first thing you need to do is to write it down. You can use a to-do list, which is a must for increasing productivity. It gets you organized and allows you to see where your focus should go every day. A to-do list gives you a sense of accomplishment when you take an item off the list, right? And it does not really matter what system you use for a to-do list. It all comes down to the general principle of productivity and that our brain is for having ideas and not for holding them. And a huge part of why we let stuff slip through the cracks when it comes to managing our time and managing our productivity is because of not writing them down. Do not hesitate to embrace technology. Use tools like apps and gadgets to get your productivity on high gear. Use technology to track the amount of time spent on each task. Set up reminders and work notifications and create schedules. Instead of putting your to-do list on paper, which you may easily misplace, you can put it on your computer or phone. I use a tool called Notion to manage my schedule. And I rarely write anything on paper because my daughters have a way of finding the most important documents and turning them into art. So whether you're using an app in your computer or your phone, whether you physically write it down on paper or analog system, it feels nice when you get to cross off things that are done. On top of the to-do list, you need to schedule everything. There are people who actually say not to use a to-do list and just have a schedule on your calendar. I actually heard this when I was listening to a masterclass presented by Nir Eyal on Mind Valley. The thing is, always remember to stick to what works for you as long as you find a way to write down and schedule a time for everything that you need to do each and every day. Next to the list is the time of the day that you allocate that activity. This means that you have specifically stated your intention to do the activity, and you can increase your odds of success 2 to 3 times just by having a specific plan. So make sure that you write a daily schedule regularly, which aids you on how to budget your time. Be proactive and not reactive. Do not let incoming emails or phone calls dictate your day, but instead create a plan ahead and try sticking to it. Get involved in your schedule. Don't let others do it for you. Write down your activities. Include activities for your family and your friends. And set a significant time for leisure, like sightseeing, watching a movie, hiking, reading a good book. There is no doubt that a well-written schedule is the way for you to have a more balanced life. Being productive means living a balanced life, taking regular breaks from work, staying healthy and happy. Nothing beats a positive attitude that comes from living your life in harmony. Another point is stop multitasking. There are times we feel that multitasking is a skill that we should accomplish in order to become successful. However, that is actually far from the truth. Multitasking is known to kill productivity. Actually, what multitasking does is switching your brain very fast from one task to the other, which leads to a decrease of up to 40% of your productivity. So focus on one task or activity at a time and give it 100%. That's simple. Minimize distractions. And that allows you to focus on one task at a time. You don't have to answer all your phone calls and emails right away, unless, of course, you believe it is or could be a genuinely urgent. Turn those notifications off. Stop refreshing Facebook, Instagram, and other social media accounts every 15 minutes while working. And now that you're fully focused, you won't believe how much work you can get done. Of course, politely inform your family, your friends, colleagues about this if necessary, and tell them not to disrupt you until you've finished or accomplished your tasks. Be the kind of person who says no. There's no way you can please everyone else's needs and still accomplish your projects on time. For example, you should get yourself used to saying no to probably colleagues asking for help because they interfere with your working habits, and this can kill productivity. This is not to say that you shouldn't help anyone, but make sure that helping others should come after your own tasks are done with. If someone asks for a favor that you don't have time for, decline politely or schedule it for a later date when you're not busy. Now that you're down to business, track and limit how much time you spend on tasks. In order to optimize the time you spend on a task, it's very important to track and evaluate your work. Do you spend too much time reading similar articles when doing research? Or maybe you visit Facebook every 30 minutes when you feel you need to have a break and end up spending a whole hour going through your newsfeed. Learn to keep an eye on the clock. Another tip is to try and avoid the delete key. And what I mean by this is to keep working on what you're doing. If you're writing, for example, don't put your mind on editing the first draft. Plow on. If you're designing, don't emphasize on being a perfectionist on your first design. Go for volume, which is incredibly helpful and makes you more productive than when you try to be perfect too early on the job. Another way to be productive is to train yourself. No matter how small the effort you put in, whatever you do is, if you do it with consistency, it adds up. And before you know it, you've become a master in a new skill. Take, for instance, putting aside 1 hour every day to independently study for a skill sharpening topic that you've been yearning for. This means 7 hours per week, 365 hours in a year. And in a couple of years, you'll have become an expert in a field of your choice. And that is by spending only 1 hour per day on it. Stop wondering where to start. Pick up a book and start reading if that's something you want. And if you think that the 1 hour is not doable, focus on results-oriented activities. Many of the activities we do throughout the day are not urgent and don't usually have a visible impact on our lives. Think about all the time used doing long lunches, dinners, commuting, long chats on the phone, on social media. You can use some of that time to read, listen to an audiobook or podcast of your choice, and it'll definitely be worth it. For example, I love listening to podcasts when I'm driving or doing things like cleaning. Something else I always recommend is delegation. Delegation may sound weird at times because many people have the notion that they cannot afford to delegate something, that they don't have sufficient funds to hire someone. This could probably be true, but think of it this way, right? What is the dollar value of your time? How much is your time actually worth? I would recommend that when you're running your business, you should come up with a figure. Let's say it's, probably $20 per hour. And that means that every task that I'm able to outsource or delegate to someone else for less than $20 per hour, I should delegate. Or if you're not good at something, or it'll take you forever to complete. Some of the tasks I delegate or have delegated in the past include design jobs like designing a logo, website, video editing, social media scheduling, and many more. This is fantastic for me because it frees up my time to do things that are better use of my skills and my time. In my webinar, How to Turn Your Passion for Service into a Profitable Business, I talk about how to find what skills are best use of your time, or the 4 zones of work, based on the book titled The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. You can find the link to the free webinar in the description below. And so whatever your circumstances are, I would encourage you to think about what the dollar value of your time is and delegate tasks that are cheaper than that. Another thing is setting SMART goals, which is great for productivity and time management. I love using the acronym SMART, which most of you would have heard before when setting up a goal. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. It means that when you are setting up a goal, you have to define it specifically, set a way to measure the progress on it, make sure it's realistic and attainable, and set a deadline so that it doesn't get finished someday maybe. Another very important step is to document your process. This is a bit of an investment and it's a bit of a slowdown before you speed up, but it's a really valuable one. You write down the steps and processes in every major thing that you do. For example, I use either Loom or Camtasia to record how tasks are done. These are 2 screen recording tools that let you record audio, video, browser, windows, or entire screens. And by documenting your processes, one of the added benefits of this is if you have people on your staff or you eventually get a virtual assistant, you can use this documentation to train them what to do and to be able to delegate what you actually do. So by having those steps codified, you are more efficient, better at managing your time, and things get done systematically. So you would want to write down and codify the steps for things like designing, project management, publishing, content development, marketing activities, or even new business outreach. By writing down specific steps for everything that you do and then following these steps, there is no doubt that you will be more efficient. Another point I want to mention is your friends or your network. Be with people who inspire you. Surround yourself with people who have the same mindset and ambitions as you do, and try working besides them so that you can motivate each other, discuss relevant topics, and brainstorm ideas that will enrich your knowledge and make you strive harder. And what do we know about highly motivated people? Their score on productivity is high up there. So make it your purpose to choose people wisely. And I don't mean that you ditch people that you love because they don't meet these criteria. Instead, make sure you find a good balance. Another key thing that entrepreneurs tend to neglect is taking care of yourself. Maybe you're inclined to think that productivity is just about scheduling and sticking to a plan in order to be efficient in your work. But there is more to it than that. You must invest in all aspects of your life in order to be properly productive. Develop healthy eating habits, give your body regular exercise, and ensure you have sufficient sleep. By doing this, you feel more energized and more motivated to work towards your goal. And give yourself a reward. Introduce a reward for getting things done. This could be something small like enjoying a candy bar, chocolate, or going to watch a movie, watching Netflix, going to the beach, or even something big like going on a safari. Set up some incentive and reward yourself to stay focused and motivated. Give yourself something to look forward to. And to recap, we have covered some tips for better time management, namely, 1, write down a list of what you need to do, and remember to also schedule in the time, because a to-do list on its own is not that effective. Stop multitasking. Train yourself by being consistent. Delegate. Set SMART goals. Document your process. And remember that you're an average of the people around you. Find those who inspire you. Self-care, look after yourself, and finally, reward yourself. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button for more great content. Bye now.